All right. Welcome back. I thought about playing the intro one more time, but ultimately decided that we need to just hop right into this, especially considering that I will not be on very long. So, how was your Monday? I hope it went well. We are here to discuss the verdict that has come down in this Cardi B, Tasha K defamation lawsuit. Now, if for some reason you are new to this, Cardi B sued a blogger named Tasha K for defamation. And defamation cases are a hill to climb, they are not easily won. However, the news being reported is that Cardi B has actually prevailed in this defamation case. It is being reported that Cardi B has been, I just lost my words. This is me having to speak after 7 o'clock. It has been reported that Cardi B has been granted a judgment of $1.25 million, everyone. Now, we're going to talk about how we got here, what this verdict means, and also have an interesting story time about one of the highest defamation jury verdicts ever granted in the United States of America. We're also going to have a quick combo about attorney's fees. I will probably be on here for about 30 minutes. That is it. I am exhausted today, you all. So yeah, we're not going to be here long. Okay, this is going to be quick. So I'm in the chat. Hello to one of my members of the Empowered Esquire tribe. Hello to Negus Roselle. Hello to Trip C. Hello to Let Me See Your Transcript. And hello to Empress Kia. Is it Kia or Kaya? Please let me know. If you're joining us on the replay or if you're just coming on in, both Trip C's Treehouse and Let Me See Your Transcript are content creators, and I recommend that you check them out. Now, on that note, I'd like to say this entire debacle with Tasha K and Cardi B has really inspired me, y'all. I'm inspired to do something specifically for content creators. I'm not going to say just what it is yet, but I have been inspired. So I'm going to create something specific. Oh, you guys, how do people do anything after 6 p.m.? I'm going to create something special for content creators and a lot of my fellow content creators who frequent my channel. I will be sharing that with you in the future because I have been inspired. All right. Okay, so let's hop into the verdict. I'm going to pull up a little article about the verdict. I honestly did not see too many major news channels reporting on it just yet. But that's when it was super, super new. So now it looks like more people are reporting on it, which is going to be good for us. So let me share my screen and we will review a quick little article, a little ditty about the verdict before we talk about one of the largest defamation verdicts there ever was in existence, right? And then we talk about attorney's fees. All right. Thank you so much, Doug. Hey, Doug is in the building, one of the best moderators. All right, I'm going to share my screen. You guys know I always announce when I'm sharing my screen. Why? I don't know. Oh, goodness. I mean, do we have to move at a snail's pace today? I'm really not in the mood for this slow-moving technology. And mind you, I have a super new MacBook Air, okay? So why it would be moving slow is beyond me. So here we are. We are on Rolling Stone. And the title of the article, as you can see, is Cardi B awarded $1.25 million in defamation lawsuit against Tasha K. Now, the rapper sued the blogger for defamation, invasion of privacy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress over false claims that she had an STD, used certain things, and worked as a certain type of thing. Okay. So, as you can see noted here, Cardi B won her defamation case. A jury in a federal trial court in Georgia has awarded her $1.25 million. A courtroom observer told Rolling Stone that she was present when the verdict was read. She appeared elated and hugged her lawyer, Lisa for I don't know what I just called this woman, and hugged her lawyer, Lisa Fortune Moore, as well as her co-counsel, Sarah Matz. Okay, so for those of you who had been confused as to who Cardi B's attorneys were or how many attorneys, it seems that she had two. Lisa Fortune Moore. Why can't I speak after 6 p.m.? Lisa Fortune Moore and Sarah Matz. Well, I know why. I have really long days. And by the time we hit evening time, I'm exhausted. I don't, as I said, I don't know how anyone does anything in the evening. Um, Alrighty. So the damages so far break down into $1 million for pain and suffering, as well as reputational injury, and then $250,000 for actual medical expenses. Okay. So let's have a quick moment while you all look at this article. I'm going to hop in the chat. Hello to Nappy Yankee, another content creator that you all should check out. So, anywho, let's have a quick conversation about this verdict and about the breakdown of the verdict. Now, we're hearing 1.25 million, and that is a substantial verdict, right? Especially for someone in Tasha K's position, because she, although she has a large following, she's more so of an everyday person, right? She's not at a Cardi B type level. So when you hear 1.25 million, that sounds like a rather large verdict. And I'm sure that if this verdict does proceed, right, meaning if Tasha K does not get this overturned in an appeal, which we'll discuss in a second, I assure you that she will feel the burden of that 1.25 million, right? So it does seem to be a lot. However, I just want to make you all aware that in the grand scheme of things, a $1.25 million verdict is light. Okay, it's light in the grand scheme of what could have happened. Now, initially when we discussed this, I said, well, I'm aware of defamation verdicts that were as much as $4 or $5 million, right? So I'm surprised to see the verdict be only 1.25, to be honest with you. But just for you all, I did a little research and I found a verdict that was much higher than what I even was aware of as far as any type of ceiling for defamation verdicts, right? So we're going to get there. But before we get to that, let's talk about attorney's fees, because I know a lot of people have been wondering, does this verdict include attorney's fees? And in the breakdown that we've been provided publicly, you don't really see any mention of attorney's fees, right? So let's get into that. All right, I'm going to share my screen again. Well, first I have to stop my screen share. Da, 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 da. Okay, so here we are. We are looking at the federal civil procedure rules. Okay, so if you are new here, welcome. If you are an OG, you're totally familiar with this and you know where we are. We are here at the Legal Information Institute of Cornell Law School. So when you are in a civil trial that is in federal court, then the federal rules of civil procedure apply. Hence why we are here in the federal rules of civil procedure. Okay, so we're here at Rule 54, which governs judgments and attorneys' fees. Okay, so let's see here. So let's get into attorney's fees. So let's go to Section D. So cost attorney's fees. Okay, so it then goes on to say that cost can be awarded to the prevailing party, right? And this is costs other than attorney's fees, right? But in Section 2, they get specifically into attorney's fees. So billable hours, work clocked by an attorney. So it says here in Section A, a claim for attorney's fees and related non-taxable expenses must be made by motion, unless the substantive law requires those fees to be proved at a trial as an element of damages. Okay, so starting with that, to our knowledge, Cardi B did request attorney's fees in writing in her initial complaint, right? So that requirement has already been met. Now, here in section B, timing and contents of the motion. Unless a statute or a court order provides otherwise, the motion must be filed no later than 14 days after the entry of the judgment. It must specify the judgment and the statute, rule, or other grounds entitling the movement to the award. It must state the amount sought or provide a fair estimate of it. And it must disclose, if the court so orders, the terms of any agreement about fees for the services for which the claim is made. So, that sounds like gobbledygook, right? And legalese to the outside listener. In essence, what this rule says, what Rule 54 says, is that if Cardi B wants to be awarded attorney's fees, she will have to provide to the court a statement regarding the judgment which she's been granted, and details regarding the amount which she is seeking for attorney's fees. So she has to provide some type of accounting regarding her attorney's fees. She cannot just toss out, whatever number she desires, right? Some accounting will have to be provided as to why she is requesting the amount that she is requesting, and then it will have to be approved by the court. Okay, so what this rule is explaining is that for attorney's fees, she has to submit the amount she's seeking, where that amount is coming from, and then it has to be approved. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about attorney's fees before we get into the largest defamation verdict that I'm aware of now, since I've done even more research in this country? Going once, going twice. I'm going to say hello to some more people in the chat. Hello to Waveberg Slim. I had asked Sis Zakia how to pronounce her name. Not Sis Zakia, Sis Empress Kaya. Oh my goodness. You see when it's after 6 p.m.? Let me see if she responded to that question. Hello to Holly B. Let me see. So it's Kaya. Okay, so Empress Kaya, I hope I got it right. I really care about pronouncing someone's name the proper way. Things like that matter to me. Okay, all right. So I don't see any more questions about judgments, costs, and attorney's fees. And I think that's pretty straightforward. So now let's get to the surprise that I have for you all, because I found a nugget for you. So let me share my screen again. All right, so here we are. So we are here on a website for another attorney, right? Who he gives his thoughts, right, on certain legal topics. So here we have an article that he authored titled "The Perils of Internet Defamation." $38.3 million jury verdict for internet defamation and invasion of privacy. One more time. $38.3 million verdict for internet defamation and invasion of privacy. So you'll note that this plaintiff sued for the exact same thing that Cardi B did. And this plaintiff was awarded a verdict of $38.3 million. So when we talk about 1.25 million, is it a lot of money? Of course. But in the grand scheme of things, it is not one of the larger verdicts to be handed down in this type of case. Okay, so let's get into this and see what exactly happened here. Okay, so on February 17th, 2016, a federal court jury in Nevada delivered a unanimous verdict awarding $38.3 million to a business owner in his successful claim for internet defamation, false light, and invasion of privacy. You all, this is a verdict from 2016. So think about the fact that with inflation and everything, this verdict isn't even equivalent to 38.3 million in current times, right? Okay, so 1.25 million, yes, it will probably change Tasha K's life, but in the grand scheme of the law, Not a lot. So let's hear what happened. So the plaintiff in that case was a successful and prominent real estate professional, okay, named Stephen Cohen. Okay, let's see. So it then goes on that he had leased a space and he was sued in regards to that space. Let's get into what the defendant actually did. Oh, so now the defendant proceeded to go on a 4-year internet disparagement campaign, trying to highlight that for you, by posting, I guess, a bunch of different statements. Here are all the statements that he made. I'm going to link this for you, by the way. A slew of different statements about this person online. So there are a few things I want you to take away from this. Notice that this person is not a celebrity. This person is just a business owner. And again, they garnered a $38.3 million verdict because of statements that were made about them online that were meeting the elements of defamation and were not true. So here is the reason why persons such as Cardi B and Stephen Cohen, while they do still have a hill to climb when it comes to defamation, right? Here is the reason why you do see them have more success than your typical defamation case. There is something, and I believe I addressed this in my first video on this case, but I'll just reiterate it. There is something called defamation per se. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat. Defamation per se. And so defamation per se means that the plaintiff actually has a lower bar to meet. And it is when someone speaks something that is untrue of another person in regards to certain very, 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 very important parts of their life. And one of those very important parts of their life is their profession. So in this man's instance, he probably met the elements for defamation per se because this person was talking about his business. And in Cardi B's perspective, there were several very, very important things that Tasha K discussed. One, her profession, and two, her family, right? Her home life and her STD, STI status. Okay. Alrighty. So does anyone have anything that they would like to know about this defamation verdict? If not, we're going to talk about appealing a federal judgment, appealing a federal verdict. Okay, I don't see any questions as to that. So we're going to hop right into Tasha K's potential for appeal. Okay, so let's have that conversation. So, as all of you know, yes, Tasha K can appeal the verdict. Absolutely. Now, is it guaranteed that her appeal will go anywhere, that she will actually see this verdict overturned? No. But I will say this. Many people who appeal, well, let's say defendants, let's not say people. Many defendants who appeal civil verdicts that have been granted against them, very often, although they do not have the verdict overturned entirely, meaning they're still found to be liable, they do usually on appeal have the verdict amount reduced. So what could happen is that Tasha K could appeal and she could still be found liable, but she may get that $1.25 million verdict reduced, right? That is a potential. So now let's talk about how much time she has to appeal, right? So for the most part, everyone, you typically have 30 days to appeal any verdict by a court, right? Whether it was handed down by a jury or by the bench, you typically have 30 days in all civil cases to appeal. So Tasha K has 30 days to appeal. Now, as I said, it is possible that she may get this case overturned altogether. But even if she doesn't, it is still possible that she could have the verdict reduced on review. So she may not have to pay an actual, 1.25 million or whatever the damages ends up being in the end. Okay. Hello to Fab 540. How's everyone doing? All right, so I think I answered your question, Empress Kaya. I hope I did. Does anyone else have any other questions for me about this verdict, about this case, anything of that nature? As I said, this one is quick, so I'm out of here in the next 6 to 8 minutes. And I wouldn't, continue to be any good to you much longer than that, because as I said, I've had a long day. Tripsy, what are you what are you talking about, Tripsy? By the way, I love to use Lesai. It's my favorite. Lesai. But what are you talking about? Please fill me in. Alrighty. As Nappy Yankee says, hit the like button, everyone. And if you're not subscribed, I have one thing to say to you. It's free. It is free. Y'all, I am subscribed. Just so you know that, I walk it like I talk it. Amigo shout out there. I am subscribed to over 100 people. Is it over 100 or close to 200? Anyway, to be safe, I am subscribed to over 100 people on YouTube. It is free. So if you enjoy someone's content and you're listening, why not subscribe? Why not? All right. And hit the like button. Why not? Okay. Now, Waveberg Slim says something very, very poignant. He says, she, meaning Cardi B, must have gone to the extent to be able to prove actual malice. And yes, Waveberg Slim, she did. She did. And Tasha K did not help because Tasha K herself admitted that she knew that what she was saying was not true. That did not help. I think Tasha K was going for a satire exception because she was saying it's for entertainment, but someone needed to explain to her what satire is because she did not meet the requirements for satire. Okay. All right, I see some questions from Fab 540. So she says, how will this verdict affect her YouTube channel? So on the outside looking in, it doesn't immediately appear like it will have any effect on her YouTube channel, right? Unless YouTube themselves decides to run with this verdict. So unless YouTube says, we don't feel comfortable having you on the platform, being that you have been found liable for this behavior. But otherwise, it won't immediately affect her channel. The most effect will be financially, when it comes to how she's going to actually pay on this type of judgment. Hi, Brenda. It's okay that you're late. I'm going to be out of here in a few minutes. This is a quick one. It's a quickie. So you can just, watch the replay, right? All right. Hello to Senorita Flowers, another one of my EETV tribe. It is so good to see ya. Okay. Hello to Kel's Tears. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, everyone. So listen, we've had our breakdown of the verdict, our breakdown of how Cardi B can be awarded attorney's fees, how she does that. And we also talked about defamation verdicts. And I shared with you one of the highest defamation verdicts ever granted in the history of the United States. So listen, if you're just joining us, no problem, right? Just hit the little, rewind, take the little red dot and like bring it back and go on back to the beginning of the stream and check it out. If you're catching this on the replay, tell me in the comments, do you think this verdict is fair? Okay. And before I head out, I'd like to know from everyone in the chat, what do you think? Do you think this verdict was fair? Fair. Oh, goodness. Put a Y in the chat if you think this verdict was fair. Put a N in the chat if you think it wasn't. And let me ask you, if you think it wasn't a fair verdict, tell us why. Do 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 do. I see the Y's rolling in. I see, and we have some words of wisdom from Fab 540 here. She says, pride cometh before a fall. Always. Always. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, the Y's are rolling in. Hello to pseudo charlatans. Yeah, it seems that everyone thinks that this was a fair verdict. And you know what? I think that is the general consensus among just the community at large. I think everyone thinks that this was fair. So we will have to see what happens on appeal. We'll have to see. But anywho, again, my replay watchers, I'd love to hear from you as well. This has been another installment of Empowered Esquire TV. I hope you feel empowered and powerful and amazing because you are. Okay, I'd love to hear from you, and I will be watching out for you in the comment section. See ya.